time for Leafs Quick Hits. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sil.
And we want to thank our YouTube audience for commenting on both our regular episodes and our new weekly Quick Hits episodes.
Yeah, so a special thanks goes out to a few of our new YouTube subscribers. We want to welcome Michael Matheson, Ted Martello, and Hannah Fogel. A big, hearty welcome to Ladies Talking Leafs.
Yes, welcome, and thank you for subscribing to our channel. And we hope for many more people to join us and talk Leafs. But a quick bit of business to get to, because BetOnline is a sponsor of this show, and it is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything sports betting. Every stat, matchup breakdown, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games, with the largest catalog of odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL, NBA, and political props.
Yeah, especially with 2 weeks to go for the American election, there's probably going to be a lot of interesting election props on there. But when the game's over, you can head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, betonline.ag, to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. So please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know needs support or advice, you can reach out to Connex Ontario or an organization near you.
All right. So Leafs Quick Hits is a new episode, which majority of our listeners should know if they've seen it last one anyways. And so at the end of each show, we're going to be naming a star of the week. So you'll want to stick around for that. And for this week, it was actually a bit of a quiet week with only two games. The first game versus the LA Kings, and then last night versus the New York Rangers. So I guess we've got a few topics to discuss here. We're going to start off with the power play. I don't know. We were at the game versus with the Rangers, and like you were saying, Sil, while we were there, it's just they're slow a little bit, and thinking too much. And I think they're on the perimeter too much. They're passing a little bit, sometimes overpassing. I mean, you do have to give kudos to the goalie too. Obviously, Shesterkin.
Oh, absolutely. He was
fantastic.
We for sure got goalied in that game. Like we had, especially in the third period, so many good opportunities. Yeah. Some grade A chances, like Willie's breakaway that, he's just really amazing.
Yeah. JT had that one. I think it was on the power play in the second period, and it was like point blank, and he flashed the leather. I think personally, we thought it was going wide. But we're a little bit of a distance from that.
Maybe it could have squeaked in that corner. I don't know.
But,
he definitely sold that one.
Yeah. But the power play right now is 22nd in the league at 12.5%. And I was looking, though, I didn't feel so bad because the Oilers are at 6.7% on their power play.
They're the power play specialists. So I don't know. Maybe people have watched film on them over the summer too. I don't know. I think they're still kind of in their post final fog. They'll get out of it. As for ours, though, I actually wonder if they should shake things up and maybe put Matthew Nyes on there to see what he could do. Big body. He's so strong in front of the net. Not that we want to take everything away from John Tavares, but it might give them a little bit of a different look. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Yeah. And actually it was interesting because I was reading different opinions in different articles and that. And one actually stood out. It actually said that have Nyes up there, replace Tavares, but actually to move Marner off as well. And put in, because Matthews and Nylander are both opposite shots. So Matthews shoots left, Nylander shoots right. So you have those one-timer shots on both sides, and it's kind of what Tampa did when they had Stamkos and then Kucherov. They did the same thing. There was always that one-timer from each side. So they were saying to do that, and then put and then put and then you have on the point you would have like Riley or OEL, whichever one, Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
I honestly think OEL looks really, really good with on the power play.
Right? Like
he does, shoot. But he's just so great, like just along the blue line, controlling the play and keeping it in and keeping it alive. Like, I do think it's going to come together eventually.
Yeah, and then have Domi, I guess, in there too with Matthews and Nylander instead of that would replace.
The thing is,
I don't know. They Mark Savard has still some work to do. Let's just say to try. Yeah.
And, we were talking about how, it's early days with trying to, work on these new systems. Especially for the top skill guys, they're probably still a little bit in their heads. Personally, I think I said this last night too when we were at the game. I'm okay with it if it takes them a while to get this thing together, as long as they're, it's clicking on all cylinders come April, May. Like, to me, that's the thing. Like, they can work on it as long as they need to, as long as by the time we get to that time of the year, it's really clicking on all cylinders. And really in the past, how many years that has not been the case. It seems to disappear during that time of year. So,
going to the second unit though, like it wouldn't be bad that you'd have Marner and Robertson with JT then, right? And then you'd have McMahon, I guess, as kind of like the Matthew Nyes presence there on the second unit, and then whatever Riley or Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the point there, but and Robertson shoots left, Marner shoots right, so you kind of have that combination. I just thought that was kind of a interesting thing, but I think they're going to give it a little bit more time. I mean,
and they should.
Yeah. All right. So what's next?
We also wanted to talk a little bit about Pontus Holmberg and, where does he fit, or does he fit at all with Craig Berube's system and lineup? I think that he feels kind of he seems to be a little shaky right now. Like, he's making some, mental errors, flubbing on pucks a little bit more. I think that he
took a couple of penalties last night too. Which wasn't good. And I don't know.
The problem is that that third line still is lacking a true identity, and they don't seem to have the right combination there. Like, I know, okay, so now Tavares is down, centering that line. I'm just wondering if they should bring Pacioretty back in to see how those three work.
He personally could be the odd man out.
Yeah, I know that, I've said before on previous shows, Pacioretty and Nick Robertson actually had some decent chemistry during the preseason.
Right.
And I think also Tavares and Pacioretty had some decent chemistry as well. That is the change that I would make, just to see how that looks.
Yeah. I do feel, I know we're talking about Pontus Holmberg, but I do feel bad for JT, because a lot of people are getting on him saying like, oh, you look so slow, right? But I mean, the guy was he was sick. Like, he lost like 10 pounds or something just last week. So I'm sure it's going to take a little bit to get back to feeling himself again. And I mean, you can't underestimate what he brings, especially on the face-offs.
No,
too,
for sure.
Right.
And I think in the hockey world, we are all so caught up in, first line, second line, third line, and like each one is a demotion. But it's actually shouldn't be looked at that way. You are looking to see, where you can get the most out of your players, where you can play them to their strengths, and, against the competition that is going to allow them to get the most out of them and to be the most successful. So if he's on the third line, that doesn't mean he's being demoted. It just means that they have a good opportunity to play him there, because he's still an excellent player against other teams that don't have the kind of depth that we have that way.
Right.
Most teams are not fielding like a great third line. So,
well, that's the thing. We have a lot of forwards, right? So that's why. I mean, we keep mentioning him every show practically. I don't even know what's wrong with him, but Calle Jarnkrog hasn't even played a game yet, right? So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen.
He's not on. He may be on Robidaw Island, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, but
hopefully
going back
not.
To
Swedish
Holmberg,
Army knife. So
yeah, going back to Holmberg though, I mean, he's only had the 1 assist in 5 games, and Berube apparently has been working with him, like off the ice and just chatting with him, and that to try and I think he's thinking it's going to be like a work in progress sort of, right? So because he's still a young centerman, and I mean, he gave him the opportunity when JT was out in that game versus the Penguins in the home opener. He was up on the second line for a bit, right? Like at center, and that was too much. He ended up going down again to the third line. But so I don't know. It just might be some time.
I think with him, it's, I think they do recognize that he has skills, and I think he also has the will and the desire to get better. I mean, even last year, when Keefe, started to give him more minutes, like he started to play well and really earn that time. The problem with him is sometimes it peters out, and he needs to be more consistent. So if Berube is going to give him like a real, specific role that he can grow into, it could be good for him. So I guess we will see. Then that brings us to another guy that is kind of on the periphery, and after an amazing camp seems to be kind of, falling back into his old ways. And that's Nick Robertson. So what do you think of where his game is heading or not heading?
Well, I was actually encouraged a little bit because I read an article. He's been talking with Mark Savard, actually, I guess, because maybe he has been getting a little bit frustrated. I mean, last night he had a grade A chance. I think it was like the net was open partially, right? And he didn't actually shoot. He waited too long. And then by the time he shot it, like Shesterkin was there. But anyways, he's not, like he said, Robertson said he's not getting the grade A chances that he was getting in the preseason. And that's just it. Like that's preseason. This is now in the regular season, right? So what are you going to do about it now? And he's not getting the amount of minutes, I guess, that he had in the preseason, obviously. But it's good because I got from the article that like he seems positive, like that it's going to happen or whatever. Again, it's still early, right? We're not, I think, like going to the 10 game mark, that's normally for everything basically that you got to start thinking about other things. But yeah, he's only averaging about 9.5 minutes of ice time. And
it's I don't think that's enough for a guy with his type of game.
Yeah.
So I know that they want him to earn it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for him that Bobby McMahon had a spark after basically just being told by Berube one game that he better put up or he'll be out. And he seems to rise to the occasion. And I think Robertson kind of needs to do the same. Stop waiting for your opportunities and make your opportunities.
Yeah. And in the third, I wrote this down too. Like he had a glorious chance in the third period too, right in the slot. That one he actually got the shot away, but it didn't go in. And it was 2-1. It would have it could have made the difference to actually tie the game, right? Yeah. But I don't know. At least I guess last night at least he looked like he had those chances, right? So whereas in the previous games I didn't notice him, sort of thing, right? So I don't know. We'll see how it goes with Nick Robertson. But moving on to loving the fourth line. We're loving that fourth line.
Absolutely.
Even though David Kampf does get paid too much for a fourth line center. We'll see what happens there. But what are you liking on our fourth line?
Well, I just love the energy that they bring, and I love their consistency in that regard. Like last night's game, they actually got a lot of ozone time and just, kept, pushing it and putting the pressure on the Rangers D and got stops there, for our other, first line or second line forwards to come on and have some opportunities. So I don't know. I think that, I don't know about you. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel something when I'm watching them. Like
sure.
there is something there. There's a chemistry. I don't know. There's an energy there, and you can just feel it when you're watching them. And obviously they're not going to score a ton of goals, but they are doing what they need to be doing right now. So,
and a key thing that they're not doing, which is good, is not taking dumb penalties.
100%. Yeah.
Right? Like that's one thing that you normally, or we do anyways with the Leafs, with their fourth lines, taking dumb penalties, right? And they're not doing that. Ryan Reeves is just going in there like it's freight train and just getting in the corners and just causing havoc. And like you said, that gives energy to the bench for that next line coming on to keep that momentum going.
And even with Reeves, I mean, I think that playing with a guy like Lawrence is giving him like some jump, because he does not look slow out there. You expect a guy, that big, the age that he's at, to be slowing down, but his skating to me looks better this season than it did last year to me. And he's really, showing that he can still skate in this league. So
yeah. And David Kampf, I mean, he's Kampfer, right? He's dependable.
Yeah. Nothing flashy.
Yeah, nothing flashy.
He's just going to do the things he does well. He's going to win those faceoffs. He's going to, be smart defensively.
Yeah. And
might pot a couple goals.
Yeah. And both him and Lawrence are, Lawrence, I don't know which one. Everybody pronounces it different. They both are keys on the PK, right? They're both excellent on the PK. So, that line, at least we got a fourth line now, right? Too, because you need that as you get deeper into the season. You need to have the four lines rolling, right? You cannot just have three lines going into the playoffs, especially. You got to have that fourth line to take up some of that ice time and the heaviness of the game.
And it was interesting to me, actually, that game versus the Rangers. I did expect it to be like a little bit more, a little bit more dirty than it was. Like, it's a pretty cleanly played game. Like, not a lot of funny business going on. I know a lot of people were disappointed that there was no Rempe Reeves showdown or rematch. But anyway, maybe. But I have to say that the intensity was still there. Even though there weren't a lot of penalties or whatever, I still felt that it felt like a playoff game to me. Like there was something on the line. So that's actually, to me, great, considering how early in the season it is, having, a game like that. And then, the game versus LA as well. Like, they did not let up. And I just want to mention one thing about that, because obviously the Rangers game is the freshest in our mind.
Yeah.
I loved what Craig Berube did that game, when they started to let up in the third, and LA got a couple goals back, and he nipped that in the bud, called a timeout, and ripped them a new one on the bench. Yeah. And I just thought that was incredible, accountability right from the get-go. Even though it's early, like we said, he doesn't care about that. And calling them out and, calling on this accountability early on, that is going to pay dividends, down the road, because you can't be asking for accountability, in the playoffs if you haven't been asking for it all season long, because you're just not going to get your expected result.
Yeah. Well, this is the regular season. This is where you learn those things, right? Like,
for sure.
Sheldon Keefe was saying that as well during his time. But like you're saying, after that LA game, Berube said that, he doesn't want them to let up like the way they were starting to in the third period, right?
Yeah.
Giving them those couple of goals, the freebie goals or whatever. But he doesn't want it that way. He wants them to keep going. And keep checking, keep forcing the other team and getting that puck back and get on your horse back to the offensive zone, basically. So yeah, I was loving that as well. All right. So what's next?
One more thing that I wanted to ask you about is, we did see Liljegren get into the lineup on Wednesday. Yeah. What was your impression of his game against LA?
I mean, I thought it was okay. I thought he actually would have stayed in for the game versus the Rangers. I don't know. He just played. I mean, it's his first game in the regular season, right? So he was after that face from the home opener.
Yeah.
He had on the bench when they introduced him. But I mean, he was okay. There was a couple of plays where one of the players on LA, he didn't have the strength to keep him back from, he basically just let him go around him and get a shot on Stolarz, right? Which wasn't the greatest so you could see a couple of plays like that, but then other plays he was able to move the puck up the ice. And it's hard too when you're not again, it's his first game and he's playing with Simon Benoit, which how much chemistry they have, right? They didn't really play a lot last year together at all. So yeah, I don't know. He was okay to me. Like I said, I was thinking that Berube might give him 2 or maybe even 3 games. I mean, in this back-to-back coming up, I think he will get in again. And he probably just has to show a little bit more, I guess probably I'm thinking Berube was probably looking for a little bit more toughness from him. Yeah. A little bit more jam, jam to not let that guy get by you like that. And cause he's pretty good with the sticks, like blocking, I guess poke checks, that sort of thing, trying to get the puck off of guys with the stick. He's good at that, but I think he can use his body a little bit better for positioning wise.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's what Berube is looking for, more physicality from him, just digging in more. Yeah. Anyway, that's our roundup of the games for this week. So now we're going to move on to our very first star of the week for Leafs Quick Hits. And for this episode, we're giving it again, it's more goalie love. We're giving it to Anthony Stolarz. So coming into the season, Stolarz was supposed to be the backup to Joseph Woll, but he's definitely making a case right now to be the number one. So now 2-2 on the season, averaging a .937 save percentage in the 4 games he's played. He's looking like a star and worthy of the shiny mask that he wears.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's played. It's funny because he's I guess he wasn't expected to be the number one, obviously, but he's really taking on the opportunity, and Joseph Woll may be a backup himself for a bit. He'll get into a game, but I mean, it's hard to pull a guy out of the net when he's playing so well, like the way Stolarz is. For sure. I mean, his positioning is just good. He's a big goalie, so he covers a lot of the net. And yeah, it was funny though in that Rangers game how the skate blade came off twice. But
oh my God, it scared the crap out of everybody in Scotiabank Arena.
And actually, I don't think nobody has actually mentioned the fact that on the screen, on the video board at Scotiabank Arena, they actually, because you could hear the breath go when he was being helped off the ice, and then all of a sudden on the video board they showed the skate blade, right? So then everybody could breathe a sigh of relief after that.
I think the people who were watching on TV did not get to see that, so everyone was so concerned that it was an injury. Actually, we were all so relieved when we saw that skate blade on the ice.
Yeah, but no, he's been excellent for this first few games of the season, the 4 games that he's played, and I mean, I don't know when Joseph Woll is going to get. He was practicing with the team on Friday, and if he gets the opportunity in one of these back-to-back games, I don't know. Do you see him getting? Do you think?
I don't know. It's been very quiet with the way they're talking about his progress. They just keep saying, he's progressing, but there's no details, which leads me to believe that he's not progressing as quickly as they would like. So I actually think that Hildeby might get the game versus Columbus this week.
Right.
But, we might see him set
him up for the Bruins. And the game. And the game that he missed on game 7 when he was supposed to be there.
I don't know. I doubt that. It could be against the Seattle maybe.
No, the Blues.
He gets back in
St. Louis.
Do you think that he'd get in this week? I don't think he's going to get in this week.
Oh, you don't think he's going to get in this week?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Oh, I don't know.
I just feel like it's not been very positive news coming out about, they seem to be very quiet about it. So that makes me feel like it's more serious than they're letting on, but that's just me. I could be wrong, and I hope that I am.
Well, as long as Anthony Stolarz keeps playing the way he's playing, we're good. I mean, we've been pretty solid in front of him as well. Have to say that
for sure.
But, I mean, there has been some grade A chances that he's had to stop too. So, so congratulations to Anthony Stolarz for being the first star of our quick hits episode. So
yes, very, very deserving.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a wrap on this Leafs Quick Hits episode. The week ahead, like we were talking about, is going to be quite a lot busier with 3 games in 4 nights. And then the big game versus the big bad Bruins on Saturday night at the TD Garden in Boston. So we'll be back next week covering it all with another Leafs Quick Hits episode for you. But in the meantime, you can check out our Ko-fi page at ko-fi.com, and our handle there is LTL1917 to see some photos of the Leafs practice that we went to earlier this month. And while visiting our Ko-fi page, please consider supporting our show by buying us a coffee. Any donation goes towards helping us produce the show and making it even better for you. So you can find the link to our Ko-fi page on our show notes or in any of our social media profile pages.
And we love hearing from our listeners and social media followers. Leave us a comment on YouTube or on social media. Our handle is at LTL1917, and let us know your thoughts on the show or the Leafs in general. Listen to us on the Believe Network at Believe.com. It's BLEAV.com. And be sure to hit that follow button wherever you listen or watch our show, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or your favorite app. And I also just want to give condolences to the Conacher family. Pete Conacher is the son of Charlie Conacher, who is a legend for Maple Leaf history. And Pete Conacher, his son, passed away just today, actually. So rest in peace, Pete Conacher. Mm-hmm. And we want to thank our healthcare workers and first responders for all that they do.
And we thank you, as always, for listening and watching Ladies Talkin' Leafs, presented by Bet Online. Till next time, go Leafs, go.
Do you believe?